Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Week 4 review. It is currently 1:30 a.m. in the morning right now. I have no idea how I am awake right now. I went to bed at probably 2, maybe 3 a.m. last night. Woke up at 9, tired as a ball sack. And I am still wired right now, and I have not had any caffeine. I don't know what is going on. It's because of that football. And boy, did we have a good week of football. So without saying too much, let's get straight into this thing. Texas Tech at Utah. What a way to get it started. I'm very happy that I picked Texas Tech to go on the road and pick up this victory because I would have looked really stupid had I said Utah win this game. Let me tell you, Utah is one of the scariest teams in football at all times because of their environment, dude. That stadium is electric. And I've got to say, I got to hand it to Mississippi State, even though I think the cowbell should be illegal. I think their environment is just absurd. It just is electric the whole time. Utah, their environment is just on fire. Another team that I feel like is always just on fire is Missouri. Their crowd is always just going berserk the whole time. And obviously Penn State is a pretty good one too. And people would like to say like LSU and whatnot, but I could beg to differ with LSU and Clemson and them. I don't feel like they're super crazy energetic. There's a lot of people, but nothing crazy energetic. I feel like the big three for me right now are Mississippi State, Utah, and Missouri. It's like every time they're at home, man, their crowd is going berserk. And I really feel like the fact that there was a lot of momentum in Utah's favor in this game, with it being at Utah, kept them in this game for a long time because this was a ball game down to the wire. All right, let's not forget that about this game. Final score ends up being 34-10. It's not good for Utah, but I mean Texas Tech ripped off what 24 fourth quarter points. It just blew open. Like it it just blew open. Once they scored that touchdown to go up 20-10, it was kind of just like no turning back now. And Utah had even responded to their field goal to give Texas Tech a 13-3 lead. They responded with a quick touchdown, and it looked like this was going to be a ball game, but it just fell out of their hands. It's like once they scored that touchdown, once Texas Tech scored that touchdown, it just feel like the momentum was gone. And Utah went 3-and-out. They had to punt it. Texas Tech 7 plays, touchdown. Utah interception, 3 plays, 28 yards, touchdown. It just fell apart. It collapsed in their hand. Utah, they've got a damn good defense. And I would tell you right now, there's 3 teams in the Big 12 that I'm looking at right now for defense. Texas Tech 1, Utah, ASU 2, Utah 3. I mean, ASU's defense after tonight, they're impeccable, man. It's hard to get a better defense that Texas Tech and ASU have right now. And I mean Utah number 3, but there were times where Utah's defense was lucking out, where they were just missing open people in the end zone and whatnot. And then, of course, the game blew open and they couldn't stop Texas Tech's offense with the backup quarterback in, who honestly, why is this guy not the starter? Like, Baron Morton has been good, but it was bad for a while. And then he got hurt. Backup comes in and just leads the charge and just completely takes the game over. But Utah takes a bad L here. One loss is not going to determine the whole season for Utah. Next week, you got West Virginia on the road. They look horrible. Bounce back with a big win, and then you get to host ASU. That's going to be a scary one for me. Because, again, they're still in this thing. They've still got the fans. They've still got the momentum, and this stadium is just scary to play in, man. Arkansas at Memphis. I said Arkansas was going to win this one, like Memphis was going to compete. Arkansas is going to win this one, but Memphis, they were down big in this game. They were down big. They were down 28-10 and then 31-20 at a time, and they just clawed their way back into this thing. And for the second straight game, Arkansas has been leading an offensive drive to potentially go up a score and maybe win the game. And they fumble the ball. They did this last week against Ole Miss, where they were extremely competitive the whole time. Let me see here. I got to find the play-by-play. I'm pretty sure, they were getting ready against Ole Miss. They were down at the Ole Miss 27, getting ready to potentially punch in a touchdown with 2 minutes left on the clock, and they fumbled the ball away, and Ole Miss was able to just knee out the clock. Same thing goes here. Memphis they were right on the goal line, ready, or I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, they were right there ready to score. Not at the goal line. They were at the Memphis 9. They were there, ready to score, and they fumbled the ball, and Memphis recovered it. 6 plays, 10 yards, game over. Memphis picks up a statement victory here because Arkansas's offense has been hot. To not only win this game in a massive comeback, but to completely shut Arkansas down like that was a pretty impressive statement by Memphis football. Both teams had about 500 yards of offense. Both teams had very similar amount of turnovers. Arkansas beat themselves down more. They just had more yards of penalties and 1 extra turnover, and Memphis is coming out on top. But, hey, keep an eye out for Memphis, dude, because this was a big one. This was a big win. Arkansas is pretty good. They should have beaten Ole Miss, and they should have beaten Memphis. They could very well be in the top 25 next week had players been able to hold on to the football. But now Memphis takes a big win here at FAU, host Tulsa, at UAB, host USF, at Rice. That USF game is the one, and then later you get to host Tulane, which is a big one. But if you can make it past those two, Memphis doesn't have to lose a game. They don't have to lose a game. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, this could be your group of 5 team in the college football playoff. This could be the team making their punch. SMU at TCU. I said overall that SMU was not going to be able to keep up with TCU on the road. Give me TCU in a victory here. That was pretty close to the case. Actually, I just went a little bit more higher scoring, which is kind of weird to think about because both these teams have been super offensive this year. TCU had 500 yards of offense, and it shows. They put down 35. But, SMU was just it was definitely a back-and-forth game, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't really feel like SMU was ever actually in this game. There was a brief moment in time where – there was, a very brief moment in time where SMU took a 3-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then TCU just rips off a 70-yard touchdown pass, and then on the next drive, 44-yard touchdown pass, kind of just cut through their heart and definitely beat them up pretty badly. But TCU, in my opinion, they're just a better Baylor. In my opinion, they just are a more well-rounded Baylor. Extremely good offense, Heisman potential quarterback. But on the defensive side of the ball, they are stronger and just better, and they can run the ball better. They're just, to me, a better Baylor. They're just a better enhanced Baylor. Auburn at Oklahoma. I said 34-21. That feels really weird. That feels like a really weird score. All right, I don't know. I said Auburn Auburn loses here. And Auburn actually played a damn good football game, ladies and gentlemen. This, let alone, was also the final score, given 2 points to a basically prayer safety. Auburn was in this football game, and honestly, Auburn got screwed a lot in this game. I didn't see the clip, but I've seen some stuff about a fumble that was taken back to the house for Auburn that was taken off the board that maybe should have been a fumble. But later in the game, I was watching this. There was an Oklahoma player running off to the sidelines, acting like he was substituting out, but he didn't go to the sidelines. Instead, he just stops and turns for a route. You can't do that. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. It should have been called, and it very well should have been called. You can't just act like you're trotting off the field and then just turn around. Like, players are going to assume you're substituting people. There's nothing players can do about that, especially when he goes off to the Oklahoma sidelines. Like, that's just not really fair and should have resulted in an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, but instead, Oklahoma gets away with one and basically rips off a free touchdown, which was their first points of the game. But other than that, I mean, Jackson Arnold has completely proven me wrong this year. Like, he was so bad, in my opinion, at Oklahoma, and I'm sure his fans were so happy to get rid of him and get John Mateer, but my God, he had them sweating bricks today. He was nothing but spectacular. Like, keep in mind, up against Oklahoma's defense, 21 for 32, 220 yards, one touchdown, and 20 carries for negative 11 yards. That's just all the sacks that came in this game. I mean, this was a defensive war. Like, there is nothing else to it. This was a defensive war that was unfolding here in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma had 9 sacks. 9 sacks. That's why Jackson Arnold's rushing yards are in the negative. Otherwise, it'd be in the positive. And overall, I mean, Auburn is just short of Oklahoma's yards by 20. They failed 2 fourth-down conversions out of their 3. Oklahoma had a fumble. Very well-rounded game. Auburn competed super well. Honestly, though, this is the thing that this is my ish. Auburn picked up a big week 1 win against Baylor, where they managed to pull it off. You know, game was close, 7-point game, and they ripped off a 4th-and-1 yard. Sorry if you hear me like rustling around, but they ripped off like a 4th-and-1 house call by Jackson Arnold that pretty much put the game away. That felt like the big win Auburn needed for the first time in a long time. Because, I mean, last year they started off against Cal. I'm pretty sure Cal won that, if I remember correctly. And Auburn just consistently has not been able to win big games. They've been competitive in every single game for these past couple years, but they always fall just short of a win. And it's like they picked up that win against Baylor, and they went 3-0 into this game, got ranked at number 22, and they do look like a damn good football team, but don't let it mask itself. This has been Auburn. This has been Auburn for the past couple of years. They have just not been able to pick up the early wins. They're constantly playing somebody difficult in their non-conference, and they're constantly playing difficult competition, and they're also just not preseason ranked. And this time they just managed to pick up that big win against Baylor off of a 4th-and-1 house call that just went through the heart of Baylor. You know, last year, Auburn, like, literally hadn't gotten their win. They had played teams so competitively, but they just weren't winning. No matter if it was against Alabama or Alabama throws a 4th-and-goal to the corner of the end zone that breaks Auburn's soul, or if it was against like an Arkansas team where you're up the whole game and you just let it slip away from you right at the end. They finally managed to pick up their big win last year, and it was against Texas A&M, and it was off of a drop pass. I mean, he was open, and he just dropped it, and Auburn won the football game just like that. That was their big win. That was their big statement upset win that they've been fighting for so long. These Auburn teams, and I will say their head coach is obviously doing something relatively right because this team is always competitive to the wire, but they're just not able to win. And I'm not going to take them off points because after all, Oklahoma is kind of running the table of the SEC right now, in my opinion. LSU's number 3 ranking is going to dwindle, in my opinion. I could be wrong. That's just my prediction. That's my projection. I think Oklahoma is in the driver's seat of the SEC right now. I think they're in the driver's seat. There's a couple other teams, like, honestly, as crazy as it sounds, Vanderbilt looks pretty good right now. Georgia, Tennessee is kind of lacking because they blew that game against Georgia. Texas A&M, and then I guess you could say LSU after that, and then like Texas, obviously. Oklahoma they're in the driver's seat. God, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 SEC teams ranked right now. That's fucking crazy. But Oklahoma, in my opinion, they're in the driver's seat. I'm the most confident in them, mainly because of their defense. John Mateer has been a good quarterback for Oklahoma. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been great, you know? He wasn't anything like he was last year, or he hasn't been anything like he was last year again at Washington State. Could be highly due to the competition, but he just isn't playing at that level. And he is playing good football, but it's like I would like their offense to take it up another notch to really put them in like a category of a lock for the college football playoff. Because, I mean, hey, man, it's the SEC, bro. And honestly, like in a SEC world and all these other conferences too, where there's other ranked teams, you can't afford to slip up. You've got Tennessee on the road later in the season. You got LSU, who is, after all, number 3 right now. Alabama on the road later in the season. I say that's winnable, but upsets happen. Texas in the Red River rivalry. Oklahoma has seemingly been like pretty good in that matchup overall, but Texas, don't count them out either. I mean, I'm not an arch supporter, but they still have loads of talent there. If their offense could take a step up and really just like activate more and show their dominance, then it would be easier to say they're a lock. But Auburn now, they've got some work to do because now you take a loss here against Oklahoma in a super competitive and kind of devastating loss. You got to hit the road again and go to Texas A&M. Then after that, you got to go home and play Georgia. After that, you got to go home and play Missouri. They don't look too bad. After that, on the road against Arkansas. Arkansas's offense is just flying all over the place. Then you host Kentucky, which is a must-win. And after that, you're at Vanderbilt. And then, oh, look at this. They're hosting Mercer. Look out for that one. Why is that the second to last game of the year? Then you finish off against Alabama. I mean, we very well could see Auburn just perform what they've performed in the last 3-4 years, where they just finish off 6-6, and they just don't finish off in a good spot. And I'm not really sure what's holding them back, but it's also like they are still a good football team. But I just hope this isn't the trend for Auburn, because, I mean, after all, last year, this matchup was pretty much the same outcome. Came down to the frickin' wire. Oklahoma barely snuck this one out in a game Auburn was kind of up in for a while. And I just hope Auburn doesn't fall into that trap again this year where they play every game down to the wire, but they just can't win. Because it's been Auburn for the past 2 years. They just haven't really been getting super media coverage because they haven't been ranked or good or regarded as good. Now they are. Is the world going to open their eyes to the fact that this has been Auburn? Or are they just going to be like, Auburn's collapsing? Who knows? Tulane at Ole Miss. Yeah, I gave Tulane some points here. I didn't really see Tulane going on the road and upsetting Ole Miss. People are kind of crazy for saying that Tulane was going to do that. I mean, this Tulane team barely beat Duke, Duke does not look good right now. All right, I know you can't look at college football like this, but Duke lost to Illinois 45-19. And now you look at how Illinois played today. Obviously, Duke is not a good football team, whether you want to believe that or not. Duke is not that good of a football team. Tulane barely beat them. You expect them to go on the road to number 13 Ole Miss and win. Is that even the final score? I have an itching suspicion in the back of my throat that I didn't finish. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and redirect up here to a game that I didn't predict because I felt like it was obvious. And I will honestly give myself an L. I will put a loss on my record this year because of the fact that I was so confident that Clemson was going to win this game that I didn't even predict it. Syracuse just changed everybody. They just shocked everybody. I mean, they literally, like, they went in here and dominated. They went in here and absolutely dominated. I kind of feel bad for Clemson, though, because it's like, is Clemson that bad? Look at their 3 losses. LSU, they lost by 7 points. I know the game should have been more, but they only lost by 7. LSU is currently ranked at number 3, even though I don't think they'll last there. They are currently number 3. They lost to Georgia Tech by 3 points on a last-second field goal. Georgia Tech is currently ranked in the top 25 and undefeated. Syracuse, their only loss is to a very, very explosive Tennessee team. It was also the first game of the year. You got to shake out some spiders there. Is Syracuse just a good team? I mean, I kind of said this in my prediction video. I kind of got turned around on my opinion after the Tennessee game, and then especially after the overtime win over UConn. But, I mean, Syracuse runs the table now. Just like that, Syracuse runs the table. They just beat Clemson on the road. You got Duke next week at Syracuse. Then after that, you got SMU. That's going to be a tough one. Don't sleep on them still. After that, host Pitt. I guarantee you Pitt will lose that game. They lost to West Virginia. West Virginia just got eliminated off the face of the planet by Kansas. There's levels to this shit. And then after that, you got Syracuse at Georgia Tech, which could be a huge game. After that, host North Carolina. That looks easy. And then Syracuse at Miami. That's going to be a difficult one. Syracuse at Notre Dame. Difficult one. Syracuse, play your cards right. Win your games that you need to win. College football playoff potential. And Clemson, I don't think I think season's over. Like, honestly. Clemson goes to North Carolina next week. Can't lose that one. Then after that, they're at Boston College. Can't lose that one. Host SMU. SMU's going to give you a real hard time. Host Duke. Even Duke will give you a hard time because they think you're beatable. And then you got to host Florida State. That I feel like that's a game where Clemson football will turn into Clemson football and start to play good. After that, at Louisville. That's also a team that nobody's talking about right now. Louisville has just been quietly dominating everybody. And they've got at Pitt and then host Virginia. After that, they're at Miami. I mean, Louisville is kind of underrated right now, like kind of super underrated. And, of course, Clemson finished off the year against South Carolina. Wow, that matchup at the preseason ranking looked amazing. Now both those teams are unranked. But, man, I don't know what's going on with Clemson right now. It is sad. Like, they're just collapsing. Dabo Swinney, he is just unk, man. It's time to move on, maybe. I don't know. I mean, he's made a good point. Like, are you sick of winning? Like, that's what he said. Now, it doesn't help that you're 1-3 whatsoever. But it's also like you don't fire him after one bad season. He has literally led you to national championships. And it's like he is still that coach. He, like he said himself, he's poured his life into Clemson football. And don't give up on him just yet. And Clemson, I mean, one loss is just, well, they have a loss to Georgia Tech, so it might be over, but Tulane at Ole Miss. Domination. Michigan at Nebraska. Look at this, y'all. I got the scores reversed. That's pretty good, if you ask me. It sucks when I get, like last week, I think it was an NFL game. Yeah, it was Colts-Broncos. I was off by 2 points on the final prediction. But I got the winner wrong. And it's like, damn, look at this prediction, bro. But I got the winner wrong. And I mean, Nebraska, listen, Michigan is a good football team. But this is Nebraska and Auburn. Spot the difference challenge. Like, actually spot the difference. They just can't win the big game. They just can't do it. It just feels like Nebraska was literally just hanging on for dear life. Like, and they were just never taking the lead. They just couldn't take the lead in this game. And y'all, this is also with a Hail Mary catch. So, yeah, Nebraska football is in fact not back. We can all say that. Florida at Miami. College game day, everybody. Wasn't it so much fun? Florida scored 7 points. Now, I will say, for entertainment purposes, like in terms of a close game, yeah, this game was pretty close for a while. I'm kind of surprised it took Miami so long to put this thing away because they were up 13-0 going into halftime, and they finally scored some more points late in the fourth. But Carson Beck struggled, but one thing is for certain, Florida's got one of the best defenses in the country. We know this. But Carson Beck struggled. 17 for 30, one interception. But overall, nothing detrimental. See, this is the difference with Carson Beck this year. So last year when he was with Georgia and they were losing games, it would be because Carson Beck was coughing up 3-4 turnovers in one game. Carson Beck, you are allowed an interception pass because guess what? You're playing on a damn good Miami team right now. You can throw one interception, but as long as you limit it to just that one oopsie, you are all clear, bro. Like, that's a good job. And, yeah, I mean, Florida I think Billy Napier's got to go because this is a good-ass Florida team. You've got so much talent on the offensive side of the ball, and I don't think DJ Lagway is a bad quarterback. And the defense is obviously stone cold. Like, they are dominant in every performance. They are just dominant. And, I mean, granted, yes, Miami's walking away with 26 points, but they held Miami to 13 points until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter where Miami started to take it away. Like, any game, for me in college football, any game with a sub-20 final score, that's a dominant defensive performance. Like, that is as good as it's going to get. And, I mean, Florida or Miami's defense obviously looks really good here because they held Florida to just 7 points. But, yeah, Florida was ranked at number 15 to start the year. They're number 3, and I kind of spoke that into existence. You don't rank a team that gets a cool starting quarterback and, la-di-da-di-da. They were 8-4 last year. They were 8-4. All right? You can't put a team that was 8-4 at number 15 expecting drastic improvement. Just can't do it. It's not going to end up. It's not going to be good for you. It'll never work out. Illinois, Indiana. My God, what just happened? So, guys, there is a curse in college football right now. Now, I will say ASU's kind of, after today, finding their footing a little bit. You got a very tough schedule ahead of you, but you're finding your footing. After all, I mean, Mississippi State won that game off of a blown coverage and just bullshit. Should have never won that game. ASU's finding their footing. But Illinois was ranked at, 11? South Carolina, 13? Who was 10? Who was 10 to start the year? I actually need to go ahead and look at this because I've been thinking about this a lot. I can actually go back to week 1. Oh, my God, I can go to previous years. That's sick. Yeah, Miami was ranked at number 10. That was obviously a good spot for them. But ASU 11, Illinois 12, South Carolina 13, Michigan 14, Florida 15, SMU 16, Kansas State 17. That whole stretch, that is like a cursed area. Michigan still hanging around. ASU might be back in the top 25. Who knows? Illinois, definitely out. South Carolina, they lost, didn't they? Yeah, South Carolina, definitely out. Florida, like underneath this earth's crust out. SMU, underneath this earth's crust out. And Kansas State, like actually in hell. Like these teams, Kansas State is 1-3. Florida is 1-3. SMU is 2-2. Illinois just picked up their first loss, but they lost. Okay, well, I'm happy I picked Indiana in this one, but they lost 63-10. Oh my God! And a lot of people were underrating Indiana, which really made no sense to me because the players that they lost were replaced by proven talent. Fernando Mendoza was a dog at Cal. He only ever proved himself in continuous great performances. Curt Cignetti, he proved himself as one of the best coaches in college football. And they went to freaking Pound Town. I mean, they dropped a dumpy on Illinois. 35-10 was the score going into halftime. This game was 35-7. But I mean, good for Illinois, at least in terms of the first half, of getting that field goal out and going into halftime with some momentum. But yeah, Curt Cignetti said it himself. They broke their will, man. Fernando Mendoza, 21 for 23, 5 touchdowns, 267 yards over the air. And 7 carries for 4 yards. Like, it just doesn't get much better than this for Indiana, and it doesn't get much worse for Illinois. Illinois was held to 160 yards, 1 for 10 on third down efficiency, 9 first downs, and only 1 interception. That's the absolutely berserk thing here, is this isn't even like a turnover fest. There was 1 interception thrown. They literally just couldn't move. They couldn't move in this game. I mean, Illinois was ranked at number 9, y'all. I get, like, listen, I'm one for returning product. That's why I was so high on Clemson. That's why I didn't really mind Illinois. But the thing about 11 was Illinois was a 3-loss team last year that lost 38-9 against Oregon. All right, there's a difference between Clemson, who was a college football playoff team, who almost beat Texas, almost went into their house and beat them, or ASU, who also should have beaten Texas, literally had them on a 4th and 13, should have beaten Texas. Like, that returning talent makes much more sense to me to rank them super high. That's why I was so high on them this year, and obviously that hasn't really worked out for me. But Illinois was only a 3-loss team, and they also really struggled with a lot of games last year, like barely winning some. There's always room for improvement with new transfers and recruits and returning talent, but you can't expect them to go up so significantly to number 9. And that proved today, because Indiana just put Illinois in their grave. At the start of this video, I said I don't know how I have energy to keep on making this video and just do anything, and oh my God, it's hitting me like a truck right now. ASU at Baylor, this is our last game of the day. Voice crack. And I have never been more proud of my Sun Devils. What a huge victory for ASU. On the road especially. I didn't think they would do it. This Baylor offense has been so good, and I honestly thought it was going to just be a shootout. I thought Baylor was going to just torch our defense, and torch our defense they did not. Our defense is legit. Listen, we gave up a broken touchdown play like 3 plays in against Mississippi State. Then we obviously finished off the game with a broken defense play that gave them a free win. Mississippi State will never win that game in a million other rematches. That will never happen again. They will never win that game again. It's just a burden that ASU has to bear for the rest of the season. But bear they will, because they just killed a bear. They killed the Baylor Bears. And they took their heart out. I think Baylor has been killed. They, obviously take a bad loss to Auburn. Or I wouldn't say like bad loss. It was competitive. It just was a hurtful loss to the fans. You have them on a 4th and 1, all the momentum, season on the line. You think you're maybe going to get a big takeaway, and instead he just rips off a gigantic run that just loses you the game right then and there. That one hurt, but they showed back up for this one. You need a conference win. And what does ASU do? They go in here and they just defensively dominate. They were forcing fumbles out left and right, dude. First drive of the game, they popped out a fumble. And I will say ASU's offense had a really, really, really hard time finding the end zone today. Baylor's defense actually stepped up. I don't think it was ASU's offense that was playing really bad. You see, against Mississippi State, it was ASU's offense playing really bad. Sam Leavitt looked so bad against Mississippi State, it actually hurt. It was the worst thing. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. The worst defense, or the worst offense I've ever seen from him. But our run game was obviously there. We came in here with a message: run the ball. And I would say for the most part, we ran the ball pretty efficiently. Now, listen, I like Raleek Brown. He's a quick speedster, but he's not big, and he loves to try and roam around to the outside. When sometimes I just wish there was a little mini Scatterboo back there who would just run into the freaking pile and pick up the 6 yards that are there. I mean, he didn't have a bad game by any means, all right? He had 21 carries for 80 yards. He seems like he is running back number 1. I think Kyson Brown is still recovering from an injury a little bit, but I really, really wish he would have gotten more snaps, because every time the ball was in Kyson Brown's hands, it just felt like it was going to work. There was a play where his screen pass got stuffed in the backfield, but he's just breaking tackles, trucking people, fighting back to the line of scrimmage. It's like, that's who I want at my running back. Raleek Brown, I love you. Like, don't get me wrong, bro. I see your potential, but sometimes you just got to put in the tank. Or even just Kanye Udo, who kind of had a bad game today, but also limited touches. Like, you kind of just got to, at times, put in the bulldozer. You know, that's what made ASU's run game so special last year was we had a freaking bulldozer. We had two of them. We had Cam Scatterboot and Kyson Brown. They were both bulldozers. You couldn't just hit them once and expect them to fall. They kept on moving. Raleek Brown is a tiny guy. He's very quick, but he's not that big. And all it takes is an arm, really. He is a powerful kid. Don't get me wrong. You know, he was like, he would bounce off a tackle and truck the shit out of somebody when they weren't looking. But when he tried to run into when he tried to just force his way through the O-line, it was like running into a brick wall. It was like throwing a paper clip at a brick wall. It just didn't. It never really worked. He ripped off some big runs at the start of the game. It looked like our run game was just going to be dominant, but then it just halted in the second half. And rise Sam Levitt. He came to play today, man. He was super, super clutch. And I'm not going to lie. Listen, I know ASU's 3-1, and Levitt had a really, really bad performance against Mississippi State. But I think he just spiraled back into the Heisman conversation because he was elite. You got to watch his running highlights. He is just ridiculous back there. He is so stupidly athletic in the pocket. You cannot count. He doesn't run the ball a whole lot. That's the thing. He does scramble and he does run around in the backfield, but he doesn't really take off and run. But when he does, bro, you will feel it. You will feel it big time. And also, he tried to do this fake handoff thing, got hit in the backfield for a sack. It hurt. We were down at our own 10-yard line, and dude just dropped his ball sack on Baylor and dropped a deep yard bomb to Eusebio, who he caught a screen pass against U of A and took it to the house. Derek Eusebio, he is a dog, bro. He's 5'9", 185 pounds. Not the biggest turkey by any means, but dude, he is quick. He was getting into the backfield like crazy. That was another thing that I've kind of calmed down about a bit now that we've won the football game, but the refs were ridiculous in this game. Absolutely ridiculous. I know I'm going to do some complaining here, even though Baylor ends up finishing with more yards of penalties. Both teams had 7 penalties. Baylor for 86, ASU for 70. But oh my, there were you can even watch it and listen to the announcers if there's the full uncut footage announcement and everything. There were deep shots we were taking to players, and there was deep shots, and they were holding our guys, and they weren't throwing it for a couple passes that would have been huge, big-time changing plays that would have kept our offense moving, and the only reason we didn't keep on moving was because the penalty occurred and wasn't thrown, driving me up the wall. There was another play where Baylor, the receiver, was running down the sidelines, and he full-on two-hand shoved our ASU guy away, blatantly. And because he was trying to stay on him, he was grabbing his jersey while he was being pushed away. They called the penalty on the defense, which was just remarkable to me because there's no hand grabbing until the very end where he gets a little hold of his jersey. But obviously that's going to happen when they're fighting like that, one-on-one coverage. But the shove just makes it so obvious. It makes it so obvious that he is shoving him because his hand was on his jersey and he didn't quit on the play. You can see him straight up just yanking him because the dude tried to just throw him to the floor. He just two-hand shoves him across. And the thing is I don't even want there to be an offensive pass interference. I don't want there to be a penalty there. Because guess what? At the end of the day, our ASU player is grabbing his shoulder pad. But overall, Baylor guy initiated it. He two-hand shoved him away. You're not going to let him walk away with a free catch like that. You're going to try and stay into that. So he grabbed his jersey. That's also just a human reaction to do that. And they called it on the defense. That was pretty much Baylor's first offensive drive touchdown. It was just guided by penalties. It was literally a drive guided by penalties down the field. I can tell you exactly. I think there were two 15-yard penalties that just pushed them down the field. And, they just pushed them down the field. Baylor 45 penalty, ASU pass interference. It was pass interference. Listen, I'm not going to complain about every penalty saying they're biased against ASU. There was some bad reffing in this game, typically worse than I normally see in football games. But ASU was also kind of beating themselves down. 15-yard penalty. Then they load up their oh wait, no, that's later. We sack Sawyer Robertson for a loss of 2 to put him back 2nd and 12, 4-yard pass. It's 3rd and 8, and then they go for this. I think this is where the pass was on the sidelines, and he shoved him. It was a 15-yard penalty that put them down to the ASU 18, where they pretty much just scored a touchdown. 30 yards of penalties that guided them down the field to score a touchdown, which it's like, hey, Baylor, if that's the name of your guys' game, you're not going to be very good this year. All right? Of course, it happens against ASU, where drives are just led by penalties, because while Baylor had a lot of penalties, they weren't super critical. They were really not detrimental penalties, by all means. Like, some of them kept drives moving, but they were not super critical, like 3rd downs or 4th downs or anything like that. They weren't super critical penalties. They were kind of just like 1st down, and then a random penalty happens that pushed us forward. And also, now to re-divert away from the penalty whining that I was doing, ASU's red zone offense was horrible today. We got 3 turnovers from Baylor. We gave them none, which is all credit to ASU there, playing great football. But why are we can't capitalize. We can't capitalize. It feels like every time we got into field goal range, or not field goal range, 1st and goal, every single time we tried to, we just do this stupid run play garbage that just pushes us nowhere, and it just kills us. We do the run play on the 1st and goal, gets hit in the backfield. Then we do a screen pass, either dropped or gets hit in the backfield. Then it's 3rd and goal. We take a shot at the end zone. Levitt almost threw 2 red zone interceptions, which were thankfully one of them hit the floor and one of them was caught out of bounds. That's the only reason we actually got 3 points on those. And it's just like, what is the red zone play calling? The play calling from that point is amazing. Every play is designed perfectly, and it is moving down the field. But it's like the moment we touch the red zone, we just start doing fart shit. Like, 1st and goal, Kanye Udo, 3-yard run to the Baylor 4. Next play, Kanye Udo, run for a loss of 1. Next play, pass incomplete to Jordan Tyson. Next play, field goal. It's like, why are we not just punching it in there? You're going to run the ball twice, and then you randomly just throw it. You're going to run the ball twice, or you're randomly going to throw it. Stick to a personality. Then we decide, so if we're going to play the field goal game and not go for a 4th down on the 4-yard line, now we decide suddenly we're going to go for a 4th down, which Kanye Udo did not get at the Baylor 16, which actually ended up proving crucial because we only won by 3 points. We wouldn't have to kick a game-winning field goal had we kicked our 3 points there. Or had we just gone for the touchdown earlier, now maybe it's easier to convert the 4th down because you got a different play call. But then, after not converting it, we get the ball back after a lovely interception. We go 1st and goal. Raleek Brown, 1-yard run to the Baylor 9. Next play, loss of 7 on the play, hit in the backfield. Next play, incomplete pass to Javon Robinson, which was the one that was almost tipped up and intercepted but hit the floor. And then we are settling for another field goal. Like, listen, Baylor's defense is not crazy. Now, the drive that was super good was the 7 plays, 84 yards. After we let them rip off a 4th and 1 that went all the way to the house, basically, we answered. We incompletion, got sacked. It looked like things were going to explode, and then Sam Levitt blew up all over the place. There was a 61-yard pass to the Baylor 26. Then we got an 8-yard run from Malik Brown, and then a 3-yard run, which put us just outside of first and goal. We threw a 4-yard pass, 4-yard pass to put us at the Baylor 15, and then it for some reason puts us back on 2nd 14. So I'm not sure. Oh, I think that was a loss of 4 yards is what it means to say. And then we load up our ball sack again, and we throw a 19-yard touchdown pass. That was the offense I was expecting to see ASU have this year, was that drive. That drive that put us up 24-17 was the drive where I was like, that's the ASU team entering this year. That right there is ASU football. And if they can unlock that drive, which they might have just done, all right, I'm putting them on the radar for all of you guys who are still here listening to me yap at 2:16 a.m. in the morning. I'm putting ASU on the radar because if they can turn the offense that they just had right there and turn that into their offense for the rest of the year, that is a dominant football team. Domination. But it is so late. I am absolutely beat. The Cardinals are on tomorrow. Gotta watch my birds. So with that being said, a like and subscribe to help, a comment always helps. That's all for me. Adios.